Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Lydia with Raindrop Lila, and today I have this new journal I want to share with you guys. I'm really excited about this journal. It took me so long to make, and I just love the way it came out. And I definitely feel like this is probably one of my top favorite journals. This is the first time I decided to embroider on the cover. And I love the combination of these colors together. I think that it works so well. And I have tiny little French knots and little roses or rosebuds on there. Okay, so let's start with the size. This journal is approximately 5.5, or maybe about 5 1/4 by 8. And now I kind of try to give it a little bit of a rounded spine. See that? And then it is approximately, 3 1/4, 3.5 inches thick. I love how thick it is, and I love how it turned out. I love the aging of the cover. And then I actually I added all these beads, and a lot of them I actually made myself. Like I had the beads and I added the bead caps on there and the little connectors. And I also added some buttons that I attached to the jump rings, and then I tied on to these, to the binding thread. I love having all these beads hanging from the journal because I tend to kind of play with them and just kind of fidget with them. And so I love adding pieces like this to the journal. Let's go ahead and get started. This is covered with some papers. I will link the printables in the description box below. This is covered with just some paper, but I was going to say that all the stitching that I did here, I had to knot off, or basically you can feel a little bit of it through the papers, but it doesn't bother me any. I don't know if you can see it. So I just finished it off with the paper. And then I have the spine is covered with this fabric. I glued this fabric on here, but I also did this decorative stitching on there. I think it looks really pretty, but I also feel like it adds a little bit of security to the journal, and I did that on the back too. Okay. Okay, so this first page, I have this piece that is removable, and I collaged on the back. And then I have this piece, and you know what? I think this might be a tuck spot. So you can actually fit like a little tag in there if you wanted to, like maybe a little tag that says what this journal is about. Okay, so that's on the cover page, but then underneath I have a pocket. I did some collaging on here with fabric, and then I have a pocket made out of this piece, and then I have this just this image of a butterfly. And here is a little label, and it says, "To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven." So I love that verse. I think it works really well for a journal. Then I have these two pieces, just some bits of ephemera that I'm tucking in here. Again, if you want to, for the front page, this pocket, it's also kind of hidden. This would be a great place to just add like a letter about what this journal is about. Okay, so I have this little bulldog clip, and I added the number 5 on here. Okay, so then, actually this was clipped on here, right? So this is one of my printables, and I actually printed the back side with this. And then the inside is like this grungy paper, and I just love it. And I think it's great because you got the texture and you can journal right there. And then you have the tree on the front. And I actually layered a bit of embossed brown craft paper underneath. And so that goes right there. I have this vintage recipe book page. Right there, I clipped in a ticket, this label with the butterflies, and then this tag. And then I have the butterflies on this side. This is from, let's see. No, this is one of my printables. So I use a variety of printables, and I will list them below if you want to take a look. I have them available in my Etsy shop, and they are actually right now, they will all be on sale. All my printables are 50% off, and that's for a limited time. So this is one of my, I want to say it's one of my fall printables. Yeah. And then I have these here. So this would be a great, like a gratitude journal. And it also, I used a lot of my gratitude verses and quotes, and I used a lot of different like fall themed or nature themed images. I have a book page here. I have some age tape that I made that I use throughout the journal. I have this leaf right here. Since it's a nature themed journal, I used a lot of like nature themed images and even like the leaves, right? And then I have like the owl, and then I have these pieces here. This is a book page. I love the color, that green color. I did a little bit of collaging. I attached this page on here, and then a little bit of this fabric piece or netting. And here's the other side. I actually tore this a little bit and added this bit of book page at the top, and I just love the way that looks. Here you can always just like add an image, a photo, or you can even just do some journaling. This is the other side of that book page, or the printable, and then this is the book page. Here is, I made a little tuck spot with this piece, and I tucked these in. I love using these as like little tuck spot. I have two in a printable. I made a belly band out of this image, and then I tucked in these tags. This is an Edith Holden book page. I just love her illustrations. Here's another book page, and I used a little label as a tuck spot, and I have this piece, which is a paint swatch, watercolor paint swatch card that I painted on, and I love the grunginess of it. I think it's really pretty. And then I have a little tag, and they just get tucked in there. I made a little fabric pocket in here, and then I have these pieces. Here I have some green dyed paper, and I added this little cutout at the bottom. I have it folded up like this. I love the way you can see the next page. I have a pocket that I made out of an image, and then I added some book page right here, and then some age tape down there. Then I have these pieces that I just tucked in here. I love this image. I think it's so beautiful, so I decided that it needs to be a center page. I did a little bit of collaging. I added this book page here. This is a great page for journaling, and right here also I added this piece of paper also, just to add some interest. And then I have this little label with the butterfly. I added some fabric on the side here. And then here's another fabric pocket. I added a little bit of, this is hand-dyed pom-pom trim. I did some collaging here. I just love this page so much. I think it's so cute. I did some slow stitching on the fabric, and then I just layered a bunch of pieces on there. Okay, on this other side is part of that Edith Holden book page, and I just attached this tag with the owl. I added some stitches on that fabric, and then I added some little hearts there. Isn't that just so cute? Okay, and on the other side I have another tag with the owls. And then here, I love this page. I have a rocking chair on a porch, and I just decorated it with some fabric, and I hand sewed some little roses on there. And then I also did a bit of stitching on there. And then I have all these pieces of papers, book pages, just kind of layered behind there. This actually comes off. I love this book page. Isn't that so pretty? And then there's plenty of room to journal on the back. And then this just gets tucked on there. I have this tag that gets tucked on there. This right here is a little tuck spot. Let's see. And I just glued some lace on top. I have a verse right there. Okay, and then I have these two journaling cards. This is my Bonnet Girls journaling cards. I have one with just regular, like everyday words, and then I have this one. I have one with basically more faith-based. And then I have another one here, and then I have this piece. I love this one too. It's perfect place to journal on the back. And then you have like the road. I love that road because to me it symbolizes our life. And then here is a book page or a music sheet. I actually just tacked this in. I have this piece of fabric glued on here, and then I tacked this in with just a little push pen, and I think it's really cute. Basically, you can just lift it up and then journal right here, and then this kind of covers it up. I have these pieces here. It's a music sheet. I love that. Another book page. I have this, which opens up like that, and then I have the little tags. Okay, so here I have this little tuck spot. Isn't that so cute? I love it. And I turned this book page into just a little pocket, and then I have all these pieces in there. This flips out, and again I have some more journaling cards. I used a map in the background. I love that. I love the colors and how well they work together. More journaling space. Is this? I think this is a tuck spot. So technically you can probably tuck something in there. More journaling space. I have some hand stitching right there. I have this little tag that tucks in here. I have these little pieces that just get tucked in here. Oops. This is hand-dyed paper. I use some of my grungier papers in here. I think that they work really well with this journal. I just added this bit of paper here just as a little bit of collage. Again, more journaling space. I made this piece right here. So I made like a bookmark that actually will is long enough so that it hangs over on the other side. And this is just a bit of ribbon, and then I used this vintage piece. It was a necklace, and I basically took it apart. And so it just hangs off on the bottom, and you can see the jewel at the bottom. See that? I have this little vintage style bag that I use as a page, and then I filled it with, again, more pieces. And then I have this. I used a poem book page here. This is kind of like that's a little tuck spot right there. I have an envelope here, and I made a little, like a shabby little bow on the paper clip. And then I have this envelope that, again, is full of pieces, like little journaling cards, and then tags. Oh, there's something else in here. And then this piece. And this is a book page. Oh, I did a little bit of collaging on here. This is fabric book page, and then that's a printable. Okay, and then I have this tag that goes over there. I have these pieces here. This is a check. This is a printable that I have. Some tickets, and then a photo. And then I just folded it over like that and attached it at the top. It's a printable. This is a book page. This is a book page that I love. I love the way it's written. And then I added a photo over that. I added this bit of fabric. I love the way that looks. I love that texture and the way it hangs out. Okay, and then I have, this is the other side of that bag. And again, a little pocket. Another signature. I have this beautiful image of the trees, and then I added a bit of velvet right there. This piece is, I made this a while back. I'm trying to, well, not a while back, maybe a week or two ago, and I'm trying to remember what I did. Okay, so this opens up, and it's like a little document paper. So plenty of place to, plenty of room for journaling, like on the back. You can also attach photos on these or do some collaging. And so that's what it looks like. And here's this is cardstock. So cute. I forgot about this, or what I did, I suppose. And so this just wraps up. And then I just tie a bow. Okay, and then this just gets attached right there. I have a book page and it says turkey right there. I have, this is a printable. Then another book page. I used some of my vintage or more grungier papers, and I love this. I experimented a lot with different dyeing techniques, and I love the way you have this splotchiness here. I think it'd be a great place to journal, like on the inside, and then maybe decorate the outside with maybe by collaging. You know, I think that would be really cute, or even adding like little cutouts of butterflies or flowers. I think that would be cute. And then this is just kind of a perfect place to journal. I included this piece here. I love this piece of fabric. This, I love this textile kit that I included. The different pieces, and it just gets tucked right here. Again, this could be journaling space, and by adding this on here, you get to kind of hide your writing. If you use your journal as kind of like a diary, this kind of keeps some privacy. I have another tag here. I made this little piece with my botanical. I have a botanical kit that I just released maybe a week ago. And it comes with these cards, right? And I cut them out and I glued them together to make like a little envelope. And I have some pieces inside here. You can use these in the journal. Okay, so what I did was I added this piece on here, and then I tied... Oh, I made this too. I forgot about this. This is like a little scrappy fabric tag. This is fabric. It's like corduroy book page. I have this pretty leaf, and then I just did some layering. I think it's so pretty. And so this I have on the back, right? And then I have everything kind of tied up in a little bundle. Another thing you could do is you can use the inside to kind of store like I would probably write, I like to write my prayers because sometimes I focus better when I write my prayers. So I would probably tuck in my prayers in there, you know, because that's pretty private. And so it's kind of like keeps it safe, keeps it tucked away. And then you tie it up like this. And then in the future, if you want to come back and look at, you know, come back and read through it, you can go through it like that. Okay, another book page, another more writing space. I added this tape. I love the color. I think it works really great in this journal. I used a tag here as a little tuck spot, and I collaged it. I have some book page right here, this moth, and then my label. And then I just added a bit of lace at the top. Isn't that cute? And so that gets tucked in here. And then I love this page so much. Oh my gosh. I love the tree. Isn't that great? I actually made this tree out of, there's a little bit of dry glue that I noticed on there. Okay, so I used a little bit of yarn to make the tree, and I love it. I love nature and I love trees. So when I was working on this page, I thought, okay, let me do some collaging, and I knew I wanted to use this image of the little cabin, and then I added the tree, and I think it's so cute. Okay, and then I got more stitching there, and that is it. Got the little embroidery on the back. The flowers are shabby little flowers. I think they're so cute though. Okay, so that is my journal. I hope you guys enjoyed this little flip through of it. If you're interested in purchasing this journal, I will have it available. I can sell it either through Etsy, through PayPal, or even Zelle. If you do purchase this through PayPal or Zelle, it will be at a lower price than Etsy because Etsy fees are fairly high. So if you want to do that, we can do that too. Just let me know. I will be listing it in my Etsy shop otherwise. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.